Hi, I'm Claire Tompkins, the Clutter Coach, and this is the Organize Your Life podcast. I am passionate about organizing because it makes my clients' lives so much easier, more relaxed, and with more time to spend the way they want to. That's what organizing is all about, not about being neat or having the right containers. It's about getting more time for what matters to you. My specialty is chunking down this big topic so it's not overwhelming. That's the concept behind my book, 5 Minutes to a Relaxing Bedroom. And that's the concept for this podcast, too, which is based on my first book, 52 Simple Ways to Get Organized. Both books are available on my website and on Amazon. I work with clients in person in the Berkeley, California area and via email and Skype, so you don't have to be local to work with me. With my help, your home will become a place you love and welcome guests into. Your office will be a place for being energized and productive. Visit the Hire tab on my website or email me at claire@cluttercoach.net. In every podcast, I'll lay out a simple organizing concept and tell you why it's important. And I'll include an action step at the end so you can start practicing right away. Okay, here we go. Hi. Before I start, I want to announce again that my first class, How to Beat Procrastination, is now available on Skillshare.com. Use my referral code to get my class for free. Okay, here's the code. http://skl.sh/2EB, capital O, capital R, capital Y, D. That's the link. Those capital letters are important. Give it a try. Let me know if it doesn't work, and I will send you the code. You can also find it on my website in the show notes for today. I could really use your help with this, dear listeners. I need to get 10 more students by Sunday, November 13th, in order for my class to be findable on Skillshare and not sink into obscurity. Here's the link again. http://skl.sh/2EB, capital O, capital R, capital Y, D. All right, thanks a lot. Okay, today's podcast is about using a timer to overcome resistance to doing a task. It's based on simple way number 25 in my book. When you commit to working on a task or project for a finite period of time, it's like using the correct container for the things you want to store. Putting your possessions into the right containers makes them easier to find when you need them. Putting your tasks into time containers makes them easier to approach. It can be daunting to start a task that doesn't have a foreseeable end, especially if you don't want to do it, if it seems hard or complicated or just not fun. As Albert Einstein said, when a man sits with a pretty girl for an hour, it seems like a minute. But let him sit on a hot stove for a minute and it's longer than any hour. That is relativity. We often believe an unpleasant task will take much longer than it actually will. So we resist doing it, thinking we won't have enough time for it. We imagine that it will take the entire weekend, a weekend we'd much rather spend doing something else. Another common problem that brings up resistance is that we forget to break a project up into tasks. We contemplate organizing the garage, and it feels like a giant mass of undoability. This technique of setting a timer is a way to get you to do just what will fit into that time container, and then stop. If you set your timer for 20 minutes, you may find yourself organizing the first shelf you come to in the garage, and that's fine. With a large generalized project like garage organizing, it doesn't really matter where you start. It matters that you start. It may seem like you're not going to get much done in 20 minutes. That's not very much time, but that is the point. You want to select an amount of time that feels easily doable. If 20 minutes feels overwhelming, see if you can stick with your task for 10 minutes. Or try just 5 minutes. You can do almost anything for 5 minutes. And you'll be surprised at how much you can get done in just those few minutes. Here's a secret. It's often the starting that's the hardest part of a project. Before we start, we aren't judging the project on its actual qualities. We're judging it using our fears, our worries, our assumptions about it. Getting into action and doing the task of sorting a shelf, or whatever it is, gets us out of our heads and into the physical reality. Before we start, we think, look at all this miscellaneous stuff piled up here. How did that happen? Ugh, this is going to take forever to sort through. Once we start, we're thinking, okay, here's my garden weeding fork. It needs to go over to the other side of the garage where my gardening supplies are. I'll take it over there. Oh, here's that bag of old batteries that I meant to recycle. I'll put it on the shelf closest to the recycle bins, so I'll be able to take it out on recycling day. See how that works? You let yourself deal with one physical item at a time. Not doing that is the biggest source of overwhelm and procrastination that I see in my clients. Basically, they can't see the trees for the forest. They're looking at a dark, impenetrable forest and they're freaking out. They need to walk up to just one tree at a time. Here's a bonus. The beauty of making this commitment is that when the timer rings, you get to stop. No need to feel guilty for not doing more because you've fulfilled your commitment. If you want to continue, because the job at hand doesn't seem as off-putting as it did before, you're welcome to. But don't force it. Making yourself work past the time you agreed to means you can't trust agreements you made with yourself, and that is a surefire way to bring up resistance the next time. Here's this week's project. Pick a project to devote 10 minutes to. It's just 10 minutes. Try it now. If you don't have a kitchen timer, you can find one online or on your phone. Be sure to stop when the timer rings and check in with yourself how much easier it was than you thought it would be. Oh, and don't procrastinate about signing up for my class. Thanks in advance. Hey, thanks for listening. I'm Claire Tompkins, the Clutter Coach. If you like the show, I'd love it if you'd leave a rating and review in iTunes. You can subscribe, too, so the podcast will be ready and waiting for you to listen to. The show is available on SoundCloud and Stitcher as well. You'll find the show notes on my blog at www.cluttercoach.net. And you can check out my store to find books I've written and books and products I recommend, and some freebies too. I work with folks in their homes and offices to bust clutter and get them organized so they can stay that way easily. Get in touch and find out how I can help you. I'm in Berkeley, California, and you can reach me at claire@cluttercoach.net. Come back for more next week.